And welcome back, and it is the 25th of Feb, higher plus 5 a day, and let's just jump into the first question. Right, so we have a recurring decimals question. Now, there's a definite technique that most teachers do the same thing. There are a couple of ways of doing this, but I think fairly generally across the board, most teachers will say, let's write the thing we've got as a number that's equal to x. And that means I can then manipulate that number, rearrange it, and find out what x equals. Now I'm going to just jump straight in and multiply by 100, which is going to give me 103.535. Well, how did I know how to do that? Well, because there's two numbers that are in my recurring part, and I need to move it along such that my recurring part, the place value of my new number, is directly below the old number. So in other words, you can see here that these numbers will cancel out, which then means when I take these numbers away, I'm going to get 99x, 100x minus x, equals 102.5. And then if I divide by 99, that means that x is equal to 102.5 divided by 99. Now, obviously that cannot be my answer because I can't have decimals in a fraction. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 10, which is going to give me 1025 over 990, and that will definitely simplify. I can at least divide by 5, put it in my calculator, so 1025 over 990, and that tells me it's 205 over 198. Now go back to the question. The question says write as a fraction. It doesn't say mixed number, it doesn't say improper, so actually it doesn't really matter how I write this. I could, I guess, do a mixed number if I wanted to, so it's going to be 1 and 7 198ths, but either of these two will be fine without further information. Next question. Prove that the sum of two consecutive odd numbers. So I'm going to say let my numbers be. So these are pretty typical sorts of questions whereby you follow the same technique. So you set your numbers up. So let my numbers be. Well, consecutive odd numbers are going to be 2n minus 1 and 2n plus 1, where n is an integer. Then you do the maths part. So the maths part is to sum these together. So 2n minus 1 plus 2n plus 1 is equal to 4n. And I'm proving they are even, so I'm going to say that's in the form of 2 times 2n, which is even as 2 is a factor. And that's question done. Not too bad at all. Proof questions can get a lot harder than that, but that was not terrible. Next question. All right, so next question says, how many tiles are needed to make pattern number 10? I seem to remember this question. I've seen this one before. Doesn't matter, but I'm going to make the same comments as before. So let's just first of all write down the number in each pattern. So there's 1 here, there's 1 plus 6, which is 7 here, and there is 19 here. Right, now I'm going to have to make a bit of an assumption because I'm not proving it. I'm just going to say it without it being there. Now a real exam question will be much clearer here. I will say I don't think this is very clear at all. You're going to assume that this pattern is maintaining in the sense that you think it's going to be a quadratic at all times. So we haven't proven that. We're just showing that by looking at the differences. So the difference here is 6. And the difference between 7 and 19 is 12, which means the second difference is also 6. There's nothing to say that pattern 4 will be that. We haven't proven that, but we're just going to assume that that's the case. In other words, I can say for my nth term, I can say that a is equal to 6 divided by 2, which is 3. Now, if you've seen me do one of these videos before, the way that I'm going to do is I'm going to write down 1, 7, 19. And then I'm going to write down 3 lots of n squared underneath. So 3 times 1 squared is 3. 3 times 2 squared is 3 times 4, which is 12. And 3 times 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 27. And then I'm going to take these away. So 1 minus 3 is minus 2. 7 minus 12 is minus 5. And 19 minus 27 is going to give me minus 8. Now, what we'll notice about this now is if I look at my differences, that's minus 3, minus 3. So therefore, this here is a linear sequence, and the nth term of that linear sequence is going to be minus 3n, because my common difference is minus 3. I want to get from minus 3 to minus 2, so I'm going to add 1, so minus 3n plus 1. Which means, remember, we still haven't finished the question, we're still only finding the nth term, which means my nth term, un, is going to be 3n squared from the a term at the top, minus 3n plus 1, which is the thing that I've just worked out. And I want to work out the 10th term, so u10 is going to be 3 times 10 squared, which is 100, minus 3 times 10, which is 30, plus 1, which is going to give me 300, minus 30, which is 270, plus 1, which is going to give me 271. Nice question. Again, a bit of an assumption that I do feel a little bit uncomfortable with, but it's only a sort of practice textbook question, so that's okay. Final question. Oh, this looks awful, doesn't it? Please don't make me have to write all my reasons. Right, what do we have? Blah, 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 diameter, tangent, straight lines, a lot going on here, BAC, express. Okay, good news. We do not have to write all the reasons. We can just do it in one go. So let's work through what we've got. So AC is a diameter, which means that ACB is a right angle triangle because diameter makes a right angle triangle. D is a tangent to the circle. So D is also a right angle because tangents meet a radius at 90 degrees. BCD is a straight line, which may sound obvious, but it's good to know. Might mean we have 180 minus something. And AO equals CD. Now this feels quite crucial. So AO, well of course it does, because it's the diameter and these are both radii. That's not very helpful. And then angle BAC equals X. So BAC is equal to X, which we've already got on the diagram. And we're trying to find out COD. COD. So I need to put my own line in. Okay. So COD is therefore this angle here, and I'm colouring in red just to make it really clear. That is the angle that I need. Now, thankfully, I'm not writing lots of reasons. I think this sometimes is just a case of working out whatever angles you can. So I'm going to start with the triangle with the X in, and it must be the case that this is 90 minus X because it's in a triangle, 180 minus, etc. Which means, well, I said straight line, and actually that's why we need it. So that means that's 180 minus 90 minus X is plus X, which is going to be 90 plus X. Now, it says, oh, actually, I misread it, didn't I? So AO equals CD. I wondered how I was going to make that work. There we go. So now, let's just go through that again quickly, because I did it initially wrong, didn't I? So AO is a radius, which must be the same as OC, which is a radius, and it tells me in the question that AO is the same as CD. So therefore, this triangle here is going to be an isosceles triangle. I made a bit of a mess of that, but again, it's just for the sake of working out. An angle COD is equal to angle CDO because it's isosceles base angles are equal, which means that the angle that I want, which is angle COD, equals 180 minus 90 plus X. Divide all that by 2 because I'm splitting between the base angles. 180 minus 90 is 90 again, minus X over 2, which that's fine. I could leave it like that. Or I could say it's 45 minus X over 2. Wow, that's not as bad as it looks. It's a lot easier if you actually read the question correctly, which I didn't do to start with, which, state to the obvious, be careful, read the question. But actually, good end. Nice mix of questions again today. A nice little circle theorem question at the end. Do like, subscribe. Any questions down below. Do let me know how you got on. I'd appreciate that. And I will see you for the next one. Thanks all.